So the center set up a committee, a 16-member committee, to study the evolution of Indian culture. In this kind of a panel, obviously, it's important that it is well represented and holistic. That, however, is not the case. There are no South Indians, no representation of the minorities, no one from the Northeast, no women even in this committee. I'm joined on this video by DMK MP from Thoothukudi, Kanimuri, who's joining us. She is one of the first parliamentarians to have actually raised this issue. And ma'am, you found it important to bring this up, to bring it to the notice of the center. Do you think that this was intentional, or that maybe, the center just didn't think this through, that they gave it a miss, that there's no representation whatsoever from several sections?
I mean, I really don't understand how you can, by mistake or unintentionally miss out so many sectors of a society. Women, minorities, and the committee actually looks like it has only upper caste Hindus. So how can you completely, if it is not intentional, I mean, I am quite puzzled to understand that, so many sections have been left out. But even if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it was unintentional, then why haven't they responded? I've raised this, and many other politicians and scholars and, people from different interest groups have raised this question, and there's been no response from the government. And after that, then you cannot continue to believe that it was unintentional. I think when you talk about Indian culture, so many people, so many cultures, and everything comes together to make what is Indian culture. It is not one section of society which can decide what Indian culture is.
But what do you see this as a problem? Do you see that this is the government's viewpoint of what they believe Indian culture is, that it's restricted to a certain geographical place of the country, it's restricted to a certain narrative that's been created for some time now, and that's something that the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam has highlighted time and again. Do you believe it's a problem with how really the government thinks?
We all have doubts here, about their agenda. I mean, it looks like you want to establish something which you've already preconceived, and you want to, take it to the people and establish that as what you think is Indian culture and Indian history. It looks like you're trying to rewrite myths as history, make it part of history. Because we've seen, the Prime Minister saying things like, plastic surgery and comparing it to what happened with Ganesha. Bringing plastic surgery into, mythology and plastic surgery. And then we've had parliamentarians talk about, what we've respect as something as a part of mythology. But we've never, no strong believer also has said that this is history, part of Indian history. That, and they've spoken against science in the floor of the parliament, and scientific temper is being tossed out. So with all this background, of course, it creates a lot of doubts and fear and concern in the minds of people who really care about what is true. I mean, who cares about looking at what the truth is. And of course, what happened in Keeradi, in Tamil Nadu, in the archaeological survey. It's a great concern to us, because there is a concerted effort to, not bring to light many of the things. We had to fight.
Do you think
so much?
The contention, ma'am, is that this committee has many expert archaeologists. So are we jumping the gun here to say that, Dravidian culture, or even the Keeradi, civilization that you're referring to, that perhaps will be ignored? Are we jumping the gun and saying that? Because there are many expert archaeologists also in this panel.
Yeah, there are. I'm not saying there aren't any experts. But then why is it a expert committee where, you only have one part of the country represented? Why you mean to say there are no women in this country who are, scholars or experts in archaeology or history or culture?
Absolutely.
And are there no minorities? I mean, we have people like Tony Joseph. You have so many women scholars, and why are they not included? And why are no South Indians there? I mean,
No.
obviously, a South Indian's interest in anything. I'm not saying you have to be a South Indian to be an expert. People like Airavadam Mahadevan who have, spent their entire life in, reading the scripts, the scripts of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, Indus Valley scripts, and deciphering that. Why haven't they been included?
But what is the response you got when you raised this with the center? I know that you, along with several MPs, have written to the president also. Are they at least open to considering a revamp of the panel?
No, so far the only response has been silence, nothing else. And I think we should keep the pressure up so that the government, because it's not something unfair which we are asking. I think a committee like this, which is going to, decide I don't think actually anybody can really, even a committee can decide what Indian culture is. Because we have, I mean, it's such a diverse culture. It is diverse traditions. It's diverse belief system, languages, and you cannot have any one thing which you can call as Indian culture or Indian history or what. There's no mythology even which you can say it's pan-Indian mythology. I mean, you have various different beautiful stories about different forms of Mahabharata, of Ramayana, of everything. I mean, that is what makes India what it is. And if you're going to miss all that out, you're ruining what India is. And that can never become Indian culture.
There is another criticism of this panel, which is that there's been a lot of talk on social media saying it's Sanskritized. Considering that, in the South, there's always a lot of talk about how perhaps Hindi is being imposed on people, how this government is pushing its agenda. What do you make of the fact that, there's several people who are saying that this panel, that there's an attempt of Sanskritization now?
Well, I see a name of a person who is in the Brahmin Sangam. I mean, I really don't understand what kind of expertise is he going to bring into this panel. And obviously, like even the new education policy, if you look at it, there again and again and again, they've been repeating how great Sanskrit is, how it's a classical language, and how it is greater than Greek and Latin, and how there is science in it, how there is philosophy, maths, and everything in it. And we have to take it to the students. I mean, I'd like to ask one question. How many people speak Sanskrit today? I mean, I'm not, but why? Yes, it is a classical language. We respect every classical language. There are other classical languages in the country. Tamil is a classical language. Telugu is a classical language. Why cannot the government look at all classical languages equally? And today people speak Telugu, people speak Tamil. There is a continuation, unlike Sanskrit. Why isn't these are living languages? Why is the government refusing to spend as much as they spend on promoting Sanskrit on other classical languages? They are as beautiful, they are great, and they have science, they have literature, everything in it. They are no less than any other language. Why government has to be equal? They're not. They're not secular. They don't want to be looking at every region equally. So there is effort on the government side to impose Hindi and Sanskrit on everybody in this country.
When we talk about this committee, ma'am, what also stands out is something you mentioned also about how there are no women in this committee. That's something that's always been in the focus in India, about how there's an inadequate representation of women. I'm sure you know that also sitting in parliament. It's a serious problem. Is that something that's simply not being addressed nationwide? Whether we talk about it being in this committee, which is just, one more panel, I'm sure in many which simply has no representation of women.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I mean, now, why are we making laws? Laws affect women and men equally. Why are we making laws without women representatives? Women's voices
Exactly.
are not heard. And it's the same BJP which in its manifesto had promised to bring the women's reservation bill. The UPA did pass it in Rajya Sabha, and they did not have the adequate numbers to pass it in Lok Sabha. But today the BJP can pass, they're passing every bill they want because they have the numbers. This is their own election promise. Why haven't they even listed it in the bills which they propose to bring in parliament? It's not even in the list of businesses. And I've spoken about this so many times, and I think the UPA chairperson also has to written to the government. Many of the political leaders, including our party leader, Mr. Stalin, has written to the government, saying, insisting that the women's reservation bill has to be brought, and we are ready to support it. I mean, this is something they said they believe in, and they will bring it. But I don't understand why the government has not done that, and it is so easy for them to pass this bill. So why it is
It's
not?
I think Yes, it's one among many issues that we have in this committee. As you pointed out, it's not well represented at all. It's not holistic at all. And when we talk about Indian culture, we refer to the fact that we have such a colorful, such a lovely history, which is with a myriad of cultures, with
Yes.
each part having a different contribution to a society. So when you see this kind of a culture committee that's set up to look into the evolution of our culture, and it's so ill represented, there are several questions that are being asked. And Ms. Kanimuri, you've raised those questions in Parliament as well. We'll see whether the government does respond, but I'd like to thank you for taking the time out for joining us on this video. Hopefully it creates some awareness also. When we talk about culture, we need to ensure that every aspect of Indian culture is highlighted. Will that be done with this panel is still a question
And we
mark.
need a person who's an authority in folk also, folk arts and folk art forms. And